I want you to tell your story about coming to the United States, about going to medical school, about your mother, about your father, because I think it's important that our people that are watching us on YouTube and the people that are listening to us on the podcast, that they know what your story is, because that sets the stage for your passion and the writing of your book called Saving Lives and Saving Dignity. So please begin.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Well, I immigrated here to America in 1977, and I um, did my internship and residency on the East Coast. At the time, I wasn't certain what I ultimately wanted to specialize in, but ultimately, I started to do some part-time work in some small emergency departments, and I realized that I found my niche, and so that became my career. And been I've absolutely loved being an ER doctor for all these years. The whole concept of being able to help people, being able to be available to help people 24/7, and at the same time, it afforded me a reasonably good quality of life. Work shift work as an ER doctor, so you on, the pressure's on, but when you're off, you're actually off. You don't necessarily have to carry a pager. And then working in the ER, I also, over the years, I was mentioning earlier, with the face of medicine changing, that I came across, and we all have come across, so many patients who are suffering, who are just, we just keeping them alive. We are doing what I call disease management rather than healthcare. We are treating their congestive heart failure, we're treating their diabetes, we give them physical therapy because they've had a stroke. We're treating their cancer, we're treating their emphysema or COPD, but they're not necessarily doing well. And I began to realize that this needs to be addressed better. Now, that in combination with my own personal journey with my mother, you did mention my father earlier as well. I'm incredibly grateful to my father, who has been deceased a number of years. He was the one who pushed me to go to medical school. He was the one who said, you need to find a career. You need to do better than me. And he always pushed me, and I'm forever grateful to him for that. He's also one who encouraged me to come to America. And I'm one of these people who is such a proud American. I'm so blessed to be a US citizen. I was naturalized in 1985. I always tell Americans who complain, you don't know how good you got it. I'm a foreigner. I come from a foreign country. We are so blessed to be here in America. And I could talk for hours about the joy and pride I have of being a US citizen. I could also talk for hours about those who immigrate here and complain. I have one message to them: go back from where you came. If you cannot see how blessed and privileged you are to be here, you've missed the boat. Anyway, to go back to my mother was this delightful, sprightly, adorable, fun individual. And then at age 75, we realized something wasn't right. We realized her memory was going down the hill. She was getting confused. She would get lost driving a car. All the telltale, typical signs you'd expect of someone with early dementia. And unfortunately, it was a downhill journey from there for 6 years. And it was painful to watch, needless to say. And I'm sure many people who are watching this have Alzheimer's is very common, dementia is very common. They've either seen this in a parent or maybe a grandparent or another loved one. And I got to realize that mom has an incurable disease. We know there's no cure. We know it's a downhill course. And how can we make the journey better? And I realized during her journey, one of the things that she lost, Dean, that was so painful to watch, was losing her dignity.
Right.
And look, Saving Dignity. Towards the end, she was incontinent. She was staring into space. She didn't recognize me. She couldn't feed herself. And it was so painful for me to visit her 3-4 times a week in the memory Alzheimer's unit she was in towards the end of her life. And then one day, Dean, I had an absolute epiphany. And I talk about it in the book. I call it the crystal ball epiphany. I kind of made that up. I sat down next to it. I thought to myself, what if 6 years ago, I actually had a crystal ball in my hand when my mother was still sharp as a tack. And I said, Mom, I want to show you something, and I don't think you're going to like it, but I want you to look in the crystal ball. This is what you're going to look like 6 years from now. And the thought entered my mind, how would she have reacted? How would she have responded? What would she have said? And I know exactly what she would have said. She would have said, oh, no. I would never want that. If I'm ever that way, just push me off a cliff. So that was a very powerful aha moment for me, so to speak, Dean. And I just realized at that point that there are so many people out there who have incurable diseases, be it Lou Gehrig's disease, be it advanced Parkinson's, be it congestive heart failure. And there's a list of them who are truly suffering, who have no realistic hope of getting better or of improving, who have never been given the opportunity to talk about where they're at in their stage of their particular illness. And this is something we need to do better.
Starting your route to retirement.